For the cutting guide, please click on the link in the description box down below for a PDF downloadable file.
Hello, Tamara here. Nice of you to join me. And welcome to my channel. It's lovely to have you here with me today. I do hope you enjoy this next part tutorial that I'm going to do on the double-sided folio album that we've been making recently. And just to have a bit of a recap, in the previous videos we've done a walkthrough. We've done then a video and tutorial on how we put my book together, how we put the folio together, and we make up the bare bones of the album. And then in the last part that I just did, we then put all our workings out, so all the sort of the guts of the album, so to speak, so sort of all the bits that we're going to then be able to decorate you know, beautifully. So that's what we've done in the previous albums as a very quick run through. What we didn't do was the two slider pages that go on the two opposite pages. Now, when I say slider page, let me show you, just so that you know what I'm talking about. When I say slider page, it's these two pages here. So we're going to open these out like that, and then that's what is my closure then on these pages. Now, we couldn't do them when we did the main album because we need to cut into the pattern paper, so that's why I've sort of left it until we're decorating them. So what I used with mine is I used the CoolKatzCrafts, not the double slider, I used their page slider die set. Really good. I love it. I've really fallen in love with it. It makes it it's so easy to be able to put in a slider if you didn't want to use magnets. So it, you know, just gives a completely different feel to your album and changes it up so that you haven't got magnets in all the time. So it just makes out, and it's a bit quirky as well, and you know, it's one of those things, is like it's a page turner. You'll turn the page and the recipient of your album, whoever you're going to give it to, will think, oh, how does this open? And it's just that mystery and that sort of, oh, this is amazing. You know, how did they do that? So that's what I thought we're going to do with that. So I won't go into that just at the moment. When we come to do it, we will talk a bit more about it. I'm going to use the Pink Christmas scrapbooking papers from Stamperia. I really like it. I've had it in my collection for a while, and I thought now is the time to use it. In my walkthrough one, I used the Winter Tales. Again, loved it, but I like to do the walkthrough in one paper pad and then do my actual tutorial in another, because then it gives you a chance to see a same album but done in different colours and different papers and things, and using different elements. And two, I then don't end up with two same memory books that is exactly the same. So so if I wanted to give mine as a gift, I've got two different papers to choose, or two different books to choose from. So that was my sort of idea on doing the two different ones. There is a PDF cutting guide that accompanies this album. The only thing I do ask is if you can please become a subscriber to the channel. That would be absolutely amazing, because then it supports me and allows me then to carry on doing all my videos and my tutorials and things. So yeah, please do subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. So let's get on with our video. Now, I'm using my Gemini today. I sound like the lottery, don't I? Today I'm going to use Guinevere's 22. But I'm going to use my Gemini. So I've got it here. I've got one of those Razcock carts that I've sort of put it onto. I've just noticed it's not plugged in. So with that, so what you will then need is you will need the other bits that we cut out. So these are the last bits that you should have, which are your flap for your slider page and your base of the slider. Flap for the slider page and base for the slider. And these are 2 extra pieces of paper that I don't know why they are there. Okay, I've got my bits ready that I needed. So I've picked my pattern paper and I've picked my images that I'm going to use for my slider mechanism. So it's going to be one of those. I haven't decided yet. I've also, from the offcut of the chipboard that come off making the folio, I keep all my little scraps like that. Well, I found 2 pieces and I've just cut them down to size. So I've cut them down to 2 by 3.5, and I'm going to back then my picture plus some cardstock onto the back of that, and then that just gives you a bit more durability of the paper. So that's just a good tip as well, to use something like that. Or if you you know, you've got any other cardboard that you've used to make your folio, use that as well. So we're going to start with cutting down, layering up our panel. So we're going to need to cut this at 5 1/4 by 8.5. So 5 1/4 goes this way. Sorry, 5 3/4. I beg your pardon. 5 3/4 by 8 1/8. So it brings it to there. Okay, again, don't throw any of this away because you can use it in videos, for tags and things. Now I am going to distress my edges of this. So I'm going to go with a bit of walnut stain, and I'm just going to ink and distress these edges. Now you don't have to do this. I just because of this, the type of paper it is, I think it's quite vintagey. So I just wanted to give it a bit more of a distressed look. Okay, so let's put our glue on. Now I'm using Pinflair book binding glue. It's a really nice glue to use. It does give you a bit of wiggle time, but it does stick pretty quick. So and you don't need an awful lot of it, and it doesn't buckle your paper as well. A lot of like PVA glue, if you do like the school grade PVA, it's got a higher water content in it. So it could then, you know, sometimes make your paper or cardstock buckle. This doesn't. It's very good. There's this one and Cosmic Shimmer are my favourite types. I love them both. So, as we've done that like so, we need then to put the flap on. Now, we're going to put the double-sided tape along that glue tab there, so it's on the valley fold, because this is going to sit underneath the card. So like so. Burnish that down. I'm just using my fingers to do that. Take that off, and then we can line it up. So I'm going to come from this way. Now you need to line up the, get it the right way. So you need to line up the scored edge with the edge of your base page, and then just very gently push them over like so, making sure that it stays in place. There we go. Excellent. And that way you've still got that you've still got that 1/4 inch gap there for when we put our bits and pieces in the inside, so for growth is what I'm saying. Yep, that's brilliant. So let me just bring my book in and put it on. Excellent, that just fits beautifully. Okay, so now you need to cut out your whichever image you're going to use. Now I quite like this Christmas candle, so I'm going to cut that bit out. Now I'm using, this is the 8x8 pad, because you will need at least 2 12x12s and 1 8x8 pad. You won't use all of your paper, but if you like me like to have a bit more of a choice in just the pattern paper, I know that Stamperia now do the background papers, which are fantastic, because you know I like to use the papers that have got all the lovely images on, but sometimes you don't all necessarily want to have a full image on your page. You just want some plain patterned paper, so that to me is fantastic. But I don't think they've brought one out yet for this here, so I've used the 2 different ones. Now I've cut mine out, so we need to back this on some black card. Now I just use a bit of offcut, and I'll put it on. I'll put my glue on, and I'm just going to stick it there like so. Now I've got these nifty little rulers that I sometimes use, which are so handy, especially for things like this, so it allows you to get that 1/8 or 1/4 inch or whatever it is that you want, whatever size you want. And that's that one. And they are from the lovely We Are Memory Keepers, and what they are, they're layering guides. So on those rulers, there's little grooves. I don't know if you can see those grooves there, and those they've got measurements on. So we've got 1/8, 3/8, 1/4, 5/8. I think there's an inch. They come in a set of 3, so you've got different widths, so for your different layers, but I'm just going to use the 1/8. so let me turn it round because I'm right-handed. Turn that round, and all you do is you butt that groove up against your paper that you want to layer, and I've got that at the 1/4 inch. I thought it looked a bit big. So turn it round, and I've now got the 1/8, and then you just use your knife and you just cut away that excess, and you should then get a perfect layer. And it doesn't matter if you've put it on a bit skew width, or a bit lopsided, or a bit crooked. It will give you a perfect layer, because they're called layering guides. Oh, apart from that one, that didn't work, did it? Have I got my... No. let's go back to the 1 inch. Aha, that's what I did. Okay. There we go, that's better. So then you've got that 1/8 of an inch measurement all the way round. Okay, so you can then go ahead and stick your chipboard on, but before you do that you'll need to just colour in the edges. Now if you've got a black permanent marker, you can use that. If you've got a Posca pen, you can use that. If you've got black paint, you can use that. Anything that's going to allow you to colour those edges so that when you look down, you're not just going to see that grey edge of the chipboard. You could even use your construction tape if you wanted to, if you didn't have any of those others. If you've got your construction tape or black frame tape, you can use that as well. Okay, so that is going to be stuck on there like that. Now it is a bit smaller, but it doesn't matter. I wanted it to be a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to put some double-sided tape just in the middle there, and then I'm just going to put loads of glue around the edges. So take that backing tape off, put the glue tape on, and stick this on like so. Okay, and that is then your slider mechanism, or your element that you're going to slide, ready. Okay, so next we need to bring in our pieces, and you'll need a pencil for this. We need to work out where it's going to go. You can have it down here if you want to. You don't necessarily have to have it in the middle. I might have mine here actually for a change, and have my other one at the top on the other side. So I'm going to have mine there. So what you need to work out is where it's going to come to for where you can then lift this out. So I'm just going to put a little mark or a line down there to show that there is the edge of my paper. Okay, and then that needs to come out to about there. So that there and that there is the end. So there. So bringing in these lovely page slider dies, I'm just going to tip them out. Now if you want to have a big tutorial on these, head over to CoolKatzCrafts YouTube channel, and Maggie has done a lovely how-to guide on how to use them. Okay, so I'm just going to eye it. If it was going in the centre, I would then centre it, but as it's not, it's going here, and it doesn't really matter where I put this on there. As long as it's somewhere in the middle, that's fine with me. So I'm going to centre this cutting die here. Put that on there, I hope. That's going to stay there. So grabbing your plates, and I'm going to turn this up this way so I don't cut into my mat, and then run it through my Gemini. I was going to say, hopefully I've got enough shims in there. Move that out the way. Okay, so then you can just take that bit out, and then that's part for your slider. So getting then you need then this part here. So this is going to be your mechanism, so you need to cut one of those out, And you'll also need to cut one of these big dies, from this big die out. Okay, this is going to be the little track that your slider mechanism is going to fit into. So we put them on there like so, and just use some scrap paper that you've got, some scrap cardstock that you've got. Bring that down. Okay, this die has only got 3 cutting blades. Okay, that is if you want to extend it. Say you've got a really long page and you want to extend it further, you can do. You can just take your die off and then move it down the page. Okay, but I've just cut, because I'm going to cut my bit off in a moment, so it doesn't matter that I've done it. I've just ripped it at the top. So let me just put these dies away. So when this mechanism we've got now this has got some score lines on it. You can just see it there. We're just going to fold the second score line back, and then the second fold score line on that side. Okay, and then you've got this one here. We're going to fold that the opposite way, so it makes like a concertina. Okay, so you've got something that looks a little bit like that. Okay, so good tip is to burnish, making sure that these are really sharp creases, because that will help. Okay, get your glue, and you're going to put the glue on that bit and that bit there. Glue them down, so it's just those top glue, those top bits, so that bit there is all glued to the top. Okay, like so. Okay, I'm just squeezing out because I've got a bit too much glue on there. So I've used, just to help me, I've got some of these tumble dry sheets that you get. I'm just going to rub that over this mechanism here. It's going to just help my mechanism to slide. And there we go. I thought I'd stuck it down there. So it's just going to help. Now, you don't have to do this. You can use candle wax as well. That works. If you just rub a candle over it, it just gives you a smoother glide. So on that sheet that I said that only had, sorry, on the piece of card that we've die cut that only had the 3 cutting sides, that's also got some score lines on it. So if you fold them down like so, okay, and again burnish, making them score lines really crisp. Okay, so bring in your mechanism. So the 2 little tail bits, these 2 little tail bits, they're going to fit through the little slot in your card. Okay, so it's like that. Okay, so that now moves up and down, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some tape onto right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a bit of glue on, just a little bit, and I'm going to centre that there. Okay, push that down. Okay. There we go. So get your tape, and I'm just going to put my tape over those little notches there that's stuck onto the card, like so. You're not going to see this, so it doesn't really matter what the back looks like. So that then is the front bit done. So we can go ahead then and slot this in like that, and I'm going to close that up. Okay, these need to go down, and what this then is going to be the little cover that goes over the top. So you can just trim a little bit off. Now what Maggie said is that this is it's like a little cover, so that if you accidentally put your glue over there, or it seeps out from when you stick your page on, it's not then going to get trapped on this. Is not, your mechanism isn't going to get trapped on the glue, and you won't then be able to use your slider. So this is just a precaution to stop that happening. Now you can use this out of a thinner card. I think a thinner card would possibly be better, but maybe a 200 GSM, just for that, because all that is just to stop that from A, coming out, and B, being accidentally glued. So that is then our slider. So finding your rubber, just rub down those pencil lines, and then you've got your slider page. Ta-da! How easy is that? Okay, so we've done our slider, so now we can just decorate the top page. And in my other album, what I did was, if I bring that out, I can show you, I just used some white cardstock inside here so that you can put some photographs in, and then this one I just had like a little flap for my pocket that I've decorated with using some punched paper, cardstock, and it was just getting rid of all the offcuts that I had. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to have this at 4 by 3 3/4. So if we did 2, so I'm going to cut out 4 because I'm going to do my other side as well. So we had that at 4. And this is just 200 GSM cardstock by 3 3/4. Yes, just double checking that. So that can go one there, and then one underneath, and then you've got that nice gap in between as well, so they can stick on there. Now, but what you can also do is cut out some photo slots. There we go, it was stuck. So let me take that off. Oh, I need that out because I need to do another one. So you can put these together like so, cut them out of just again some scrap card that you've got. You can cut, they're deep enough to be able to cut out 2 at once, so you can put 2 pieces of cardstock on each other and cut them that way, I'm just hoping that I've got enough shims in there. So just all you do is you fold back. They've got some little pre-scored lines on there, so you just fold them back like so, and then you can put some glue or double-sided tape just on that inside of that glue of that tab that you folded back like so, and then this can fit over the top of your paper, okay, like that. Now I am going to put a little bit of tape just on those edges like so. You won't see them because this is going to be the back, but this is just going to help it to stick now, okay. And again, you won't see that because that's at the back. Again, fold in these scored lines. I've just noticed my little monitor at the top here has gone off, so just turn it on. I use it so I can see better on a big screen what I'm doing. And so we folded that one down, so that's going to go under like so. And that's going to go on my opposite corner. Now you could go and put these on each corner. I don't mind them on just two because I think they're quite adequate enough to hold your photos in place. But again, that's up to you. Like that. And then that can get stuck on like so. And then you can then stick in photos, or if you want to put some more journaling spots in there, you can. So there we are. Right, so I'm just going to put some glue on that. Stick that down. So that's one. And then two. So I'm going to put these on the opposite corners now. Two. So they're going to go on those. Push that down, just give it a pinch. I will put some tape on the back there as well. I just wanted that to initially grab. And then I'll do that in a second. Glue as well. This glue just goes on the back of that little tab that you folded over. And that's going to go in there like so, and there, that's it. So that's those stuck down. And then I'm going to put it so that they go the opposite way, but I've done it the same way. Oh, silly Billy. Never mind, that looks alright actually. It's not the end of the world. Okay, so put that down, straighten it up, and push it down. So that is that. Just check I can get that in. That's brilliant. So that's sort of there. So this page here, because this is where I had my extra pieces of paper, didn't I? I had them here, but you could just have one long one that goes down there if you wanted to, maybe a little pocket at the bottom. And before we cut, sort of stick this on, we could maybe put a little pocket here. So let's just have a look how far that goes. So if we did 3.5, if we did 3, so let's take that over. So if we did one at 3, okay, so let's get some of our, again, offcut card. I'm just going to cut this at 3. and I'm just going to have it at maybe 2.5, okay, like so. And then that's going to fit on there like that, and then we're going to put some paper over, but I'm not going to fit it down at the sides, okay. I'm just going to put one line of double-sided tape along that bit there. But first of all, I'm just going to get my punch. This is just an old Martha Stewart punch that I've got. I quite liked this design. I thought this would be quite nice, so let's go up. That's better. Okay. And then that can fit on there like so. Okay, so get your double-sided tape. Just going to stick this bit into place. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of a little border around, like so, and then that opens up. Measure this bit here. So that is 1 7/8 by 2 7/8. Okay. And that can fit on like so. We can have it that way. That looks quite nice. So don't forget to ink your edges. I just remembered I forgot to ink those. My little element there. Okay. Stick that into place. Okay, so we've just got to make this little tag in here, but again, you can make that tag any size you really want to. I'm just going to do it at, I'm going to have a big tag in here, so I'm going to have mine at 7 by, you can even have it by 7 just over so it comes out of here, but I'm going to do it at 7 by 3. Okay, so that will be your black card, so 7 by 3. So that is that, this one. So that will go in there. Now I'm not going to put any some pattern paper on that just yet, because I want to see what paper I've got left over. So that's just the tag that is going to go in there. Now it's not going to fall out because of that double-sided tape. It kind of grabs that tag, but doesn't grab it so that it sticks. It just grabs it just on the top, so it helps it to stick in place. That way you can just have it, it's just like a little flap, then more of a pocket. So let's close that up like so. So that, then we've just got that front bit to do, which again you can either use a bit of offcut, or as it's the top, you could add a different colour, actually would look nice. And that then is 3 3/4 by 8 1/8. So 3 3/4 by 8 1/8, like so. And then don't forget, inky those edgy edges. put the glue on. Like so. Now you have got this 1/4 inch down here, which you can just put in and put on a little strip of card. So I'm just going to, sorry, a little strip of your patterned paper. So I'm just going to do a 1/8 of an inch strip, and I'm just going to then cut that at 8 1/8. There. And then that's good. It's just going to stick on that bit there, like so. And I've actually paper pieced it by mistake. Didn't that wasn't by design. Happy accident. There we go. And then we just stick that on. It's just a little bit too long, so I'm just going to cut that bit off. If you give me a second, get it straight. There we are. And then just chop off that little tiny little bit. It's just at about 1/8 of an inch too long. There we are. So that's that, that's that. Stick that back in there. Close that up. And then we can stick this onto our book. So that then's going to go on that cover there. Let me just move my bits and pieces out of the way. That piece. Okay, then this is just going to fit onto that outside or inside page cover. So you will need quite a bit of glue and tape on this to keep it stuck. Now what I'm just going to put some double-sided tape just over that mechanism there, and I'm just going to put my tape just along here, because what I want to do is I don't want to have any gapping. So by putting your double-sided tape, that's going to help keep that flat. And then again, just your glue, lots of glue around to help it stick. Okay, right, so then let's get this into place. I'm just going to turn this round so I can see what I'm doing. Just come up a little bit more, a little bit down, a little bit down. Let me just open that up. There we are. Just giving that a burnish down. That closes up, and that's nice and secure. Excellent. Doesn't overshadow this bit. So that's one. Now the second one, you can either have it where it's opening the same way and have your mechanism up here. You could do that, or I had it where it was the other way round. So I had it so that they both opened exactly the same way, like so. But again, that's entirely up to you. And I did it like that so that this would fit over on this side of the book when you closed it. Okay, so that you would it would utilize this space here. But as we've not done that this side, you can have it open in the same way, but have it here, and so it would utilize this space at the top. So you could go away and do that, or you could have it exactly the same place, but I think it would look quite nice up there. Okay, we're going to do our credit card style slots elements now.
Here's the base of one of our pullouts.
But we need to then put the pattern paper on, and that's the one that's going to have our slots. So you need to pick what pattern paper you're going to use. Now I think what I may use is the back of this one here, which came off one of the slider pages. So this is just my offcut. So I'm just measuring from that scored line down to the bottom, so that's 6 1/8, but that's the back, so I want the front. So 6 1/8 by 5 3/4. Okay, so this one would be 5 3/4 by 1 7/8. Okay, that's the top part. So if we just cut out this part first, so I'll need 6 1/8 as my measurement. Okay, just check. Yes, 6 1/8 by 5 3/8, 5 3/4, which brings it there, which is lovely. And then I'm just going to cut this part off here. So this will be 1 7/8, and then turn that round, and that will be by 5 3/4. Okay, and then that can be at the top here. Okay, like so. So for this you will need a ruler and a pencil, and you will need your trimmer. So if I bring you down, so we are going to measure in 3/4 of an inch from the side. Okay, all the way down. I should have actually, so I'm just going to measure that, and then I'll just put my measure along like so. I could have done it this way, I don't know why I didn't. So that's 1/4, 1/2, 3/4. Okay, and then that's up like so. And then cutting from, so we are going to use these lines as our guide. So bringing in our trimmer, and I'm going to cut the bottom part first. So from the bottom, we're going to put it in this way. So you put it in the correct way up. Okay, so if it was like that, I'm going to turn it and put it that way. Okay, and you're going to cut it at 1 1/2. Okay, so I'm just getting at my centre. So using these pencil lines then as your stopper, that's where you're going to stop your line going to. Okay, like so. Then I'm going to move my paper down and go to 3. Again, cutting from that pencil line along, and then I'm going to move it down and cut at 4 1/2. Like so. So then that's your slots then cut in. So all that's left to do is now, if I can, again, they go walkabout. They really do just walk away. take off those pencil lines, or that one, 2 pencil lines, like so. Now we need to just add our construction, little, I wouldn't say construction strips, they're little strips that we are going to slot into them. Before we do that, we need to put our little holes in the ends here. So you need your little crocodile, and these are just the small holes, and these are going at just where the slot goes into that you've cut. Okay. All this does is allow the paper to breathe, so that it doesn't, you haven't put a lot of stress on the paper as you open and close your slots. Okay, that's another one. Two. And the last one, 3. So that's the 6. Okay, once you've put your holes in the side of your credit card slots like that, put it on there, you see it better. We now need to do the little strips that are going to go in to the slots, just to help with the wear and tear, so that your paper is a bit more protected. Right, so you need to cut 3 of those. So I've done 1, 2, 3. Okay, so your double-sided tape needs to go on the bottom edge of that strip. Okay, like so. Take the backing off. And I'm sorry, these are huge tweezers. I can't find my little ones. So you need to slot this into that slot that you've just made, but you need to try and maneuver it down so that you've only got a tiny little bit showing. There we go, like so. And then that's going to protect that edge. So let's do the next one. Now the reason why we do it right at the bottom is so that we don't see the double-sided tape coming through the top. But we're actually taping the double-sided tape to the front of the paper. So you will go in. There we go. Right, 2. And then the last one. Put that in like so. There we go, I'm getting there. That's okay, that side. Pull you up. There, right. Got there in the end. Okay, ink your edges. Like so. And then we can go ahead and stick this on. So, your glue, you need to put along the top, down the sides, and just one bead across the bottom and down there. And this is the top, so I'm just adding a little bit to the top of that to just to help it stay stuck. Then we can stick that on like so. Okay, turn that over like that so that I haven't got that in my way, and just ink this one. and then this is going to just go onto that top edge. Like so. This one, isn't it? There we go. So that fits in there like so. So we can go ahead now and just decorate the back bit and put our pockets and things on. If I bring my other one in again, let's have a look what we've done. So it's this one here I've got. So this one here that comes out, push that down a bit so we can open it up. I haven't got anything on the back here, but I've got the pocket coming down. So it's really, again, it's up to you how you want to decorate those types of things with your pockets and things. And again, I can leave it. I've just decorated this back bit as well here. I don't think that one goes in there for some reason. No. So I've put a pocket on here, which is the actual pocket that the pull out goes into. So let's have a look what we can do. We'll do lots of different things actually. So let's work on this. So I'm going to put a pocket onto here. So let's get my paper. So we can use this one on here. You can do it as a paper piece if you want to, and just cut it in between. So, okay, 6 1/8 by, I think it was 5 5/8. And then this one will be 6 1/8 by, I think it's 5 3/4. So let's cut them out. So I'm going to cut this one first. So I'm just going to cut it along at 5 3/4. Like so. And then cut that out. 6 1/8. That goes there. Like so. And then what's left will fit up here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a pocket across there so that I can hide this, that it's not exactly right. So what I will do for the next one, if I did the same thing, is I would cut it smaller on this side, on this part. Okay, so let's stick this bit on. Get it the right way up. Okay, in like so. Okay. And then I think what I'll do is I'll stick the larger measurement, obviously the bit there where I haven't got enough, at the top, and then I'll put my tag pocket holder there. So let me just double do that. Okay, bring that down. across like so, and then what I'll do is that top bit there, I'll get some card, and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use this, I'm going to use my other punch because I actually prefer this design. So it doesn't matter if it's just a little, you know, they're all different. Makes it unique then, doesn't it? There we go. And then this is going to go at the top there like that. So I'm going to put the tape. Now I'm going to put 2 rows of double-sided on this one because it's a bit of a bigger pocket or tag holder. Tuck spot, maybe we can call this a tuck spot instead of a pocket. I'll just turn that around so that I can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to put it so that it is running in line with my patterned paper like so. And then I've just got this bit here to paper piece, so that would be 2 3/8 by 5 5/8. Okay, so have I got a nice bit of offcut, and that will just go on nicely on there like that. That's it. So it goes that way. I'm just getting the bearings right. I was just thinking, oh no, I've put this up on the wrong, I've put the paper back upside down, but luckily I haven't. So that can go on the top. Again, I just need to lift that up just so that I can get the measurement correct. There we are, firm that down, and then you've got another little tuck spot in there for, you know, another tag like so, and then open that up. That can then go into our little holder like so, and be lifted up and taken out. So you've got some like little hole hidey bits in there, hidden secret spots that will go in. I quite like that. Right, we'll finish this part now of the folio. So this is the actual pocket that our pull out goes into. Now I was toying with the idea of putting like a little dimensional pocket on there with a little closure, like a belly band closure, but I didn't know whether it would get caught as you keep putting and pulling your pull out in, so I kind of shied away from that. So I thought we'd just put a little pocket on there as I've done, and have it as like a little tuck spot type thing. So this area here, we need to cut it at 5 7/8 by 6 1/8. I've cut my pieces now. I've also cut this top bit as well. I've cut that one at 3 inches by 5 7/8, but it was just the top piece of what come off of this part that I've just cut off. So I just thought that would go in there nicely, like so. So don't forget to ink your edges I'm trying to make a conscious effort to remember to do that on this video. I kind of start and then I forget halfway through. So I just think this book particularly lends itself to being a bit more sort of rough around the edges. It's a great book to start with into your folio journey if you wanted to, because it is pretty easy to do, I have to say, especially using the black frame tape or the construction tape. It is really easy to do and quick as well. My videos just take that little bit longer because I do like to sort of faff about, and I like to do lots of placements and, you know, will this fit here, will this fit there, that type of thing. So mine tend to take a little bit longer. But that's the whole creative process, isn't it? Some people work really quick. One of my very good friends, and if she's watching this, she'll know who I'm talking about, is an absolute whiz. She whizzes through everything. She's such a quick crafter, and what she does is amazing, I have to say. I don't want to say her name because I haven't had permission, so but she'll know who I'm talking about. There we go. She's very good at mixed media and foam around flowers and anything really. She's amazing. Okay, we've stuck our pattern paper on now, so that's all done, and it's starting to come together now, our album. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a band in the centre here, so that we can slot our tags into. I was thinking about putting a pocket along the bottom here, but I really like this part of the paper, so I didn't really want to cover that fully. So I thought if I do just a band going down, it might look quite nice. So again, just getting some offcut of card, and we need to cut it down. Oh, I'm going to keep that because I'll need that. To 6 1/8. And I'm going to go with 2 inches, okay? And then I'm just going to use then the my border punch, and I'm going to punch both sides of this paper to give me a nice decorative edge. Now you could use, if you had dies, if you've got some border dies, you could cut a border out with those. I've got some lovely tonic ones that would work. Also, if you have some Spellbinders border dies, they would look amazing. I've got quite a few of those. Also, I think CoolKatzCrafts, they do some dies as well that you could use for borders. So yeah, there's lots of dies out there that you could use. So I quite like that effect, and I'm going to put a pattern piece in the middle. And what I'm going to do is put, you could either put some little construction like hinge strips on to lift that up so that you've got the full width of the band, or you could just put your tape along there, which then would mean you've got a smaller gap for a tag. I might do this one and use the construction strips, but I'm only going to cut them out to about, what have we got here? I'm going to cut them at 1 inch, so 1 by 1. So that's my little construction strip. So what I've done is I've made them 1 inch by 1 inch, and then I've scored at 1/2 inch in the middle, okay, to give me that hinge. And then I'm just going to put them on, just using your double-sided. And you need double-sided on both sides of that. I'm going to do the mountain fold, so put them both on, your double-sided on both sides of that mountain fold. Like so, 1, 2. And then attach them to the back of your band. And it's just going to go right on the edge, okay? If you can see that, it's gone right on the edge. Okay, do the other side, like so. So you do it so that the the actual fold of your hinge strip is facing outwards, okay? So it's sort of like that. So you've got the valley fold going into the card, if that makes sense. I hope it does. So that's 1 and 2. And then I'm going to just line it up with the bottom edge. So you can have it more to the side, you can have it in the middle, more to that side. So again, it's your artistic license, wherever you would like to place it. I'm going to place mine just there, like so. Firm them down, and then that gives you that whole width of that belly band to put in a nice sized tag. Now, I know that's a bit big, but you can get quite a few. You could even get a little booklet in there if you wanted to. So that would be 1 inch by 6. You'll need some pattern paper for that. There we go, and then that will fit nicely in there. Again, ink the edges. And let's glue it on. Okay. There we are. So that then is another part done there. Now we could go and put a booklet in there. So if I cut my card at 11, so 5.5, so it'd be 11. By 6, and then score it at 5.5. That then should give me a nice sized booklet. Now you could make a little folder as well if you wanted to. Instead of making a booklet, you could have made a folder. That could be. Let's have a go. I can show you. So if we kept it at so we said 4.5. Okay, I'm going to score it at 4.5, fold that over, and then score it at 4.5 again. So, and then we can fold that over. I'm going to take off 1/8 of an inch off that, just to give me that closure. Fold that over, like so. I'm going to open it out because I'm going to cut this now down to 6. Okay. Burnish like so. Now you can either use your black tape to secure the edges, or you could use a construction strip which will give you a bit of a concertina type folder. So again, the choice is up to you. Again, you don't have to do that. You could just do a booklet, and then that can go into, I'll put it in this way, into our little belly band, like so. I will go this way. You will go in, and that then is a little booklet that you've got in there. So that's another idea for you to do, just as a quick thing. And that's the other little booklet that we've just done. So I'm not going to cover those yet, because I want to wait and see what pattern paper I've got left.
I'm going to leave it there for this video. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and that you'll subscribe to my channel so that you can be kept up to date in all my future videos. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!